Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to connect a ticking time bomb in our digital world with the story of an ancient prince, all to uncover a hidden flaw that exists in pretty much every system we rely on. So, let me start by asking you a question. What are the hidden flaws, those ticking time bombs, in the systems we trust every single day? They might be a lot closer than you think. And some of these flaws, they are literal countdowns, ticking away inside the very code that runs our modern world, just waiting for that one specific moment to cause absolute chaos. Okay, let's dive into our first example. It's this massive but not very well-known computer bug called the year 2038 problem. And you can think of it like a digital cliff that millions of devices are unknowingly heading straight for. So to really get this, you have to understand how a lot of computers actually see time. They don't think in dates and years like we do. Nope. Many of them use a system called Unix time, and it's super simple. It's just a running count of seconds, starting from one single point in time, midnight, January 1st, 1970. Now get a load of this number. For any older computer or device that's running on a 32-bit system, this is the biggest number of seconds it can possibly count. That's it. It's the absolute end of the line for its internal clock. So here's what happens. At a very specific moment, 3:14 and 7 seconds in the morning UTC on January 19th, 2038, that clock is going to try to tick over to the next second, but it can't. The number just overflows. It flips a bit in the code, and suddenly the system reads it as a massive negative number. And this is where the crisis really hits. In that single tiny second, the system's clock doesn't just stop, it jumps backward. We're talking more than 136 years. Any computer that's affected will suddenly think the date is December 13th, 1901. You can imagine the catastrophic errors that would cause. And look, this is the really important part. This isn't some quirky bug for an old PC. This affects critical infrastructure. Think about banking systems that need timestamps for every transaction, aviation systems that need perfect timing, or even older embedded systems in things like cars and medical devices. They are all vulnerable. Okay, so let's switch from a flaw in digital code to a flaw in human consciousness. What if the most dangerous time bombs aren't in our computers at all? What if they're hardwired right into our perception of reality itself? Let's travel way back in time to around 563 BCE. There was a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. His father, the king, was told his son would either grow up to be a great ruler or a great spiritual leader. Well, the king wanted a ruler, so he built what he thought was a perfect system, a palace where Siddhartha saw nothing but youth, health, and luxury. He was completely shielded from any hint of human suffering. But then, at age 29, Siddhartha left the palace walls, and for the first time, he saw what are now called the four sights. He saw an old man, a sick man, and a dead body. And just like that, he discovered the fundamental, hidden flaw in his perfect world, that suffering, decay, and death, they're inescapable. Then he saw a peaceful holy man, and he realized there might be a way to understand it all. You see the parallel here? In both of these stories, the moment the flaw was discovered, it triggered a crisis. For the engineers, it's a race against time to fix the code. For Siddhartha, it was the beginning of a desperate search for a new, more robust way of living. And the solution, in both cases, wasn't just some small patch. No way. It was a complete architectural upgrade. For the 2038 problem, developers are moving systems from 32-bit to 64-bit, which pushes that time limit out by billions of years. For Siddhartha, he had to upgrade from the limited system of his palace to a vastly expanded understanding of reality. So after he left the palace, Siddhartha tried going to the other extreme, harsh self-denial, even starving himself. But he found that didn't work either. He realized that both extreme luxury and extreme hardship were flawed. The answer was balance, what he called the middle path. It was like a whole new operating system for the mind, one based on moderation and a much deeper awareness of how things really are. So what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why are we talking about a computer bug and the origin story of a major world religion in the same breath? What is the real connection? The crucial point is that both stories are really about the same fundamental process. They teach us that real growth, whether it's technological or spiritual, isn't about just perfecting the system we're already in. It's about having the courage to see its limitations, to see the hidden flaws, and then to build something new, something more expansive. The good news is engineers are already working on the 64-bit upgrade to avoid the 2038 crisis. But that leaves us with a much bigger question. What are the invisible walls, the 32-bit limits in our own thinking, in our own societies? And what would it take for us to start our own upgrade?